Anna Clive, a distinguished CIO and COO with a remarkable 20-year career marked by significant achievements in technology and business transformation. Her extensive expertise spans telecommunications, fintech, government, media, digital, retail, and financial services. Anna has excelled at leading firms such as Deloitte, Thrive, BTC Markets, and Aussie Broadband. She was recently honoured with the Telecommunications Leader Award for 2024 by iTnews. Anna is a passionate advocate for AI and emerging technology trends, dedicated to empowering organisations through innovative solutions and strategic foresight. And from there, I read that you did a short-term contract around transformation, and then you joined BTC Markets as COO again. I was not overly familiar with BTC, but they're in the world of cryptocurrency, I believe. I read somewhere the biggest or oldest...
Australia's oldest cryptocurrency exchange.
Which I will confess, I laughed when I read that, because I thought...
2008.
You've been around for 10 years. It's a great claim, and I love you can expect to see 1885 above the door or something, not 2008.
That's a long time in crypto.
It is a long time. It's a lifetime in crypto. So what... Because that's a relatively small business, I understand. From the research that I did, and so what were you doing in that role? What did that involve?
So originally it was to have, and I really wanted revenue. So I really wanted to have an opportunity to manage revenue, and so it was going to be revenue, corporate services, and operations. And then I started, and I met with the head of technology on the second day, and I actually said, look, I actually don't know who you're reporting to, and he's like, I'm going to reporting to you, Anna. And I was like, okay, cool. Because I'd had a lot of experience running tech projects. And that was a big focus for the technology team. And so I ended up having the whole business report into me. And that was hugely challenging, because crypto is you really do have to learn. And then I had cybersecurity that I'd never had before. I'd never had HR before. Finance I'd kind of done enough of before. It wasn't a big deal. There's a couple of new things there for me. Infrastructure, I'd never had infrastructure before. So it was and I kind of remember thinking after 6 weeks, I'm like, wow, why do I feel like this? And I was like, oh my gosh, I've got learning fatigue. It's pretty overwhelming. It was a lot.
You're also presumably in an environment where tech is the product too.
Absolutely.
I say crypto, not crypto, you talk about cyber. So, like, you have to be secure. You just don't last, right, in that kind of world.
Absolutely. And our security posture there was very, very high. And the processes that we had in our operations team around customer service and fraud management were really leading, and we had to.
So what did you learn about cryptocurrency through that experience?
I learned a lot about cryptocurrency. I learned about custody. I learned about different operating chains. I learned about the power of the banking lobby and slowing it down. I learned about consensus mechanisms. I learned a lot about cryptocurrency.
I feel that as GenAI has become the talked about thing in technology, cryptocurrency just seems to have disappeared below the radar. What do you think is the future for crypto?
Well, I think it's interesting. I think there's a lot of lobbying to stop crypto kind of coming through. And there's one of the challenges with crypto is you can actually create a coin now in a couple of hours. And so anyone can kind of have their own coin. But the actual underlying technology around the different blockchains themselves, I think, has got a lot of value. And so... And I haven't really worked through it, but I think there is a lot of synergy around with AI and blockchain as well. But I do think there's a future where, for example, all contracts are kind of written using a blockchain technology. There is the digitization of real world assets. So I think there is a lot of utility for it. And I mean, even now, in Australia, we're probably one of the leading in the world around digital money. And so I think that we will end up going more to something like a distributed ledger.
Interesting. I guess it makes sense in Australia because it's such a migrant country. People have come from all parts of the world. They're not bound or historic legacy to the sterling or the dollar or whatever. It's still a relatively new, still emerging country, right?
Yeah, and look, if you've got to move money around the world, moving money,
and that's the other thing.
Yeah, so we could do end-to-end a transaction from anywhere in the world on the XRP chain in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And so you just can't do that and the banking system is catching up because of the challenges and the threats. But there is a lot of international movement of money through crypto rails.
Yeah, interesting. Look, I'll confess I don't know a lot about crypto. Yeah, I'm probably more crypto curious is how I describe myself.
Yeah. There's a great podcast called that, Crypto Curious.
There is one. There you go. Yeah. Damn it. I love alliteration. I feel like I just invented a new podcast, but it's taken. But I think what kind of I felt at the time, and there was all this NFTs and all this kind of stuff, I felt like the average person on the street couldn't assimilate, well, what does this mean? How is it better than the card in my pocket or the card on my phone or the cash in my bank or whatever? And when you don't kind of capture the public imagination, you're then kind of looking to business to say, hey, change your processes, change what you're doing and introduce something new because it's going to be better, faster, quicker, and it's going to solve and save you money or make you more money.
Yeah.
And I don't think those two things are probably apparent enough for either to be able to make a change. We talked about change management earlier, right?
Yeah.
It's people are resistant to change.
There's definitely not enough utility in the technology to move to using crypto from a day-to-day perspective. And so, and the crypto market is made up of, like, there's a whole heap of venture capital. Like, you fund your business, you fund your tech company by creating a crypto coin and then marketing that coin. So there's a heap of just funding mechanisms there. But definitely the utility is not there. Visa and MasterCard are investing a huge amount of money in this space. Solana, the chain, in terms of the number of transactions they can process, I mean, this is a few years ago now, but they were significantly faster than Visa.
Yeah.
So in terms of, like, B2B and in terms of, like, commercial finance, there's definitely utility there in terms of moving money, transaction processing.
Yeah, interesting.
And having records that are immutable, so you can't change them. But in terms of our banking system and the work that's happened in our banking system around enabling digital currency means that there's not a lot of utility for us to shift. Now, there's arguments for third world countries that don't have that regulated banking systems. And certainly there's arguments if you've got an unstable currency as well. But for us in Australia, it's very, very hard to see from a retail perspective. Yeah.
And I think it feels, again, at the moment, right now, there's enough battle going on around cash and the pressures that organisations like Emmbr find themselves under as well, which it's pretty complex. Very complex issue to fix. Yeah. You so it sounds like, going back to the role with BTC, an incredibly broad, diverse role that really pushed you, challenged you, developed you in a number of ways.
Yeah, it was a great role. Yeah.
Did anything in that role kind of give you a real passion towards, like, what you want to do next? Did it kind of create this career bucket list? Yeah,
I think so. I think I loved being. So I really love being with technology teams, and I loved being in a technology organisation. I don't think there's anywhere else, in my experience, where you are with people who are just committed themselves to learning. And in a blockchain company where the engineering team are always working to understand new technologies, everyone's reading, everyone's researching, everyone's figuring out how to do new things. And we're figuring out how to launch products. And so that you had this mentality of learning and exploring all the time. And I think that is in technology teams, like, even if you think about